going on, guys? This is Dan with Flawedoffroad, and that little plasma cutter sitting right there behind me, we're going to talk about my first impressions on that thing today. That is the Yeswelder Cut-55 DS. Let's get started. So a month or so back, I did a super detailed review on the Yeswelder MiG-205 DS welder, which they really liked that, and they ended up sending me out this plasma cutter also to check out. I'm just kind of giving my first impressions on build quality, unboxing it, did everything come in the box, how does it work, all that kind of stuff. So that's what we're gonna do today, and I'm also gonna show you kind of how all the leads and connections connect and where they go. So here's the back of the machine. It does come with this air, it's a regulator and a water separator and this tubing. They give you like 4 feet of it and you only need a little piece. I did have to supply this myself. You can direct plumb it or just put a quick coupler on there. This thing actually works pretty good. You can put a gauge on it, but you don't have to because there's one right there. And all you have to do is hit this little button, like when the machine's on, and it'll start pumping air out. And then you can just reach back here and set it to whatever you want. So this here's the power lead, and it comes with this adapter for your 220, but you can run it on 110 with this plug. And now this looks like one of those hardware store repair plugs, so I don't know if they all come like this, or maybe if I got one that was a return or something. I don't really know, but it works, so I don't care. I did try operating this on 110 volts and I kept blowing my breaker, and I'm pretty sure that my garage is on a 20 amp breaker. I can cut for 8, 10, 12 seconds and then it trips the breaker. Point being, if you're gonna be running it on 110, you might want to give it a dedicated circuit. Seriously, just run it on 220 if you're trying to do any large amount of work or thick material. So I saw on a post somewhere that they were updating this Cut-55 DS, and I do believe that I got the updated model because I found a few differences between mine and previous models. So I'll show you what those are. It's actually the torch and it's this ground screw on the back. You can see this, so you can ground this like if you have an earth rod out in your shop or whatever, and the older model did not have that. And I saw a review video of the old torches and they definitely look a little bit different than this one. So I'd say that's what the 2 updates are. The thing I haven't figured out yet is if I'm supposed to be grounding this to something. I need to look into that. In fact, I will look into that before the end of this video and tell you the answer to that. And then you just got your on-off switch and a cooling fan. Around front here, it's pretty simple. Like I said, that kind of turns the air on and off. This one's 2T and 4T, which it's supposed to be where you can just pull the trigger and let go and it keeps cutting. And then this, it'll just tell you your amps right there and your air. Down here, this is where the main torch hooks up, and it's just the air. And there's 2 wires coming off of it. There's a red wire that goes to this. This is your trigger lead, which that's a black wire with like a aviation mill plug. And then this is for your work lead, which is like a DENS 25. Now this work lead is way better than what came on the Yeswelder 205 DS welder. This thing is a lot more robust, has a lot stronger spring on it. It has a better jaw on it, and it has a solid cable between each side. It's like a copper strip, whereas the 205 DS over there, it came with like a braided cable that ended up fraying. So I would say they've definitely upped their game in their clamp department, because I don't feel the need to change this out like I did on the welder. So here's the torch lead. It is flexible on the end. Got a trigger guard, which it sticks up just far enough right here that you can go like that if you got your other hand busy. This is a SG55 torch, and that's the consumables it takes. Now there is 2 different sets of tips and stuff. One is like for 110 volt, one's for 220, and that's pretty much what I'm using. And this comes apart like super easy. I'll show that to you real quick. You just got your ceramic cup. And this isn't fancy, so it doesn't have like a swirl ring and stuff like a really nice gun would have. But this threads off of there. There's 4 holes where the air comes out of here. Let's see if I can get that by hand. Oh, I can. So that comes out, and then you've got these little tip things that come out. Looks like I might need to put a new one on. You see that little indent on there? I can't get this camera to focus. Well, hopefully you can see that little indent on there, but this comes out of there too. It's just a little bit stuck right now, but that's all there is to the consumables. I found that if you buy the Yeswelder consumable pack, it's actually cheaper to buy it on Amazon than it is right off of their website. So there's a fun little tip for you. So here's the other end of the torch. And like I said, that one's just the air. I believe the red is your high frequency pilot arc start or whatever. And then this mill plug right here is the trigger. I don't like how much longer these leads are, because you end up with a bunch of slack up here. And I had coiled it up first, but then I was getting some interference and stuff because this thing does put out a little bit of electrical noise into the surrounding equipment. So if you've got a laptop or something nearby, it might bug out on you. So anyway, it's pretty simple. This just threads on right here. And then this red cap screws off. There is 2 washers on here. I'll put it up over here so it's out of the way. And then this, it's just a 2-pin mill plug, and there's a little indent, so you can't get it wrong. It only goes one way. There's a little ring that you tighten. And then you got your DINS plug here, which you just line the slot up and then give it a turn. And it's all locked in, and that's it. It's ready to go. So we'll flip it on and I'll show you the controls. This thing's not quite as loud as the old 205 DS over there. Like I said before, pretty much you just got your amps. Now I found that like right around 35 to 40, like I was cutting 1/2-inch plate on 40 amps and 40 PSI. If you go a little bit lower, right around in this range, and maybe 35 PSI is good for 1/4 inch. You just kind of have to play with it yourself. Anyway, like I said earlier, if you push this button, it'll kick your air on. It'll just keep going until you hit it again. I don't know if there's any other function of this button other than that. And then this trigger that you can change to 2T, 4T. So anyway, we're all set up. Let's cut something. So this is just a hunk of 1/4 inch plate that I actually cut the square out of that bumper to build this bumper. And if you want to see this bumper build, check out my channel. That was my last video I posted. But anyway, we're gonna just do a couple test cuts on this 1/4 inch stuff, and you can see how it works. So here's some rusty metal, and I'll show you. I mean, you can see it cuts, it'll start right on the rust and everything. So there's the piece we cut. I left it on 33. I would have liked to have cranked that up just a hair more. So you can see sometimes it'll leave a pattern on there, and the thicker material, and if you don't like have your cutting speed right, the worse this pattern will be. But you notice this slag stuff on the bottom, and you might think, oh crap, I gotta grind this up. But actually it comes off pretty easy with like a slag hammer. Did you see that? Flew right off of there. So you might have noticed after I let off the trigger that air kept coming out of this, and that's just a feature that for like 15 seconds it'll keep blowing air, and that helps cool your tip down and stuff. And actually sometimes I will blow it right at the part to kind of help cool it down too. The other thing you may have noticed is, so when you first pull this trigger, this thing will actually make this kind of buzzing sound in here. And what that is the pilot arc, which that's what makes these machines awesome, is that you can basically have an arc before you touch the metal. So I'm gonna be honest here, this torch actually isn't working right, and I didn't even realize it until I started watching this video on the Mike Festiva channel, which, by the way, if you have not checked out his channel, you need to hop over there because you're missing out. He's an awesome dude with awesome content. There's supposed to be an actual flame, a pilot arc flame that comes out of this when you pull the trigger, and mine just buzzes. So let me pull this and see if you can hear it. If you turn off the lights, you can see an itty bitty little spark down in there. Now it does still cut fine, it initiates the arc, but it's not working like it's supposed to. I'll put a picture right here what it's supposed to look like. And that's straight off the Yeswelder website. So what I have done is I've emailed the Yeswelder support team, and we're gonna find out together what they're gonna tell me to do to fix this, whether they send me a new gun or if they tell me to check something with the consumables or whatever it is. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a post down below after they get back to me, and I'm gonna let you know how they dealt with this problem and what they tell me to do and what they do about it. So that way you can see how their support works. But that little buzz is the same thing that I'm getting a little bit of interference from, which I'll talk about in a minute. Anything with the high frequency and pilot arc is going to put off a little bit of interference. I was hoping it wouldn't be this bad. Basically, about 50 feet away from where I'm sitting right now is my desktop computer in the house, and it interferes with that. The speakers pop, the screen flickers, and actually the processor slows down. And I don't know if it's damaging my computer or not, so I actually tend to turn the PC off before I use this thing. I reached out to Yeswelder. They just kind of gave me a generic answer. They said, well, yeah, these machines will put off interference. Okay, well, how do I fix it? So if anyone watching knows how to reduce or minimize or eliminate that electrical noise, put it down in the comments below. That way I can fix mine and so can other people. So as far as my first impressions, this thing is definitely more about function over form to me, and it functions good, it cuts good, and it cuts a hell of a lot easier than a grinder, and that's what I wanted. Overall, the construction's fine. It's not flimsy, it's not super high quality, it's kind of right in the middle. It's about what you would expect off of anything else off of Amazon or eBay these days. But the packaging was really nice. It was really well protected. Everything was wrapped up good. The leads are pretty long. I would say the cutting lead's a good 10 feet long, maybe 12 feet long. It feels longer than the welding lead. Like I said, all that stuff is decent quality. The clamp is way better than the Yeswelder MiG-205 DS clamp that came with that welder. They use the same 110 to 220 adapter, so you can run it on either. The air water separator thing, it's decent quality. The airline I'm a little bit iffy about, and it does come in metric, by the way, so they do include a couple metric push lock fittings. The bracket that holds it on is a little flimsy, but for the most part, it's fine. I mean, Yeswelder, they make cool stuff. It's cheap, it's affordable, it works good, but like the instructions with this thing kind of suck. You know, they have social media people that can speak English, but clearly their direction writing people can't. The support does get back to you. You know, they keep Chinese hours, so if you email them, you have to wait till 9, 10 o'clock at night, and that's when they're starting their day and sending you a reply. So I have had a chance to use this thing a good bit. I cut out stuff for my bumper, I've cut up some other stuff. So far everything's working up to my expectations as far as performance. That's good. This isn't really a review. I don't have enough hours into this thing. And like I said, Yeswelder did send this to me. So I did not buy this machine, but they're not paying me to talk about it or anything like that. This is just my kind of frank first impression of what you get when you buy one of these. Maybe down the road, once I have a lot more hours using this thing, I'll do an actual review on it. But for now, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. Again, they gave me a discount code Flawedoffroad. You can save 10% on this or any of their welders, consumables, equipment, helmets, all that kind of stuff. Just plug that in on their website. You get free shipping. I get a little bit of kickback, which helps me make these videos and buy better cameras and stuff. So it's kind of a win-win. I have referenced that MiG-205 DS a couple times in this video. I did a super detailed review on that. I'll put that right up here somewhere. Go check that out next, and thanks for watching. See you next time.